Abigail Beeman, CTV News. Thank you for taking our questions. To Ministers Motzfeldt and Rasmussen, I'm wondering if you can update on the latest of your talks with the United States and if you feel there's still a threat of any kind of invasion. And I'm also wondering if you are interested in Canada sending any kind of military help. And to Minister Anand, I'm wondering if you can update us on the case of Robert Schellenberg in China and whether the shift in tone in Canada's relationship with China had any role to play in the reported overturning of his death sentence.
You want to go first?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I will say that our situation is much better than we were just for a month ago. And now we have put this diplomatic track, and now we're in a direct dialogue. That is something that we have been wished to be in several months, if you look back. And today's where we stand today, and the meeting that is already started on this high-level working group is already started, and it's a good thing. And talks in this room is respected talks, but we are not there where we want to be yet. There is going to be a long track. So where we're going to land at the end, it's too early to say.
I can just echo what Vivian Motzfeldt just said. It's actually less than 4 weeks since we had the meeting in Washington, even though it appears to be, months. And I think both of us left that meeting slightly optimistic because what we agreed was that we should have this discussion trilaterally between Denmark, Greenland and US to explore how we can accommodate reasonable US concerns about security in the Arctic, which we share in a way that they respect fully our red lines, which is of course our sovereignty and the territorial integrity and the Greenlandic people's right to self-determination. And then the whole thing escalated, and now we are back on track. And as Vivian just said, the very first meeting have taken place. New meetings are scheduled. And I think we serve our best interest if we leave that discussion with these people who are dedicated to solve the problem in the diplomatic track. And then I think it's also important to recognize that beside of that, there's the whole agenda about the security situation in the Arctic, more generally speaking, not only linked to Greenland. And that is for NATO to solve. And in that regard, of course, we need Canadian support, and we already have Canadian support. Canadian, Denmark, and the other Arctic coast states have been arguing for years that NATO should pay more attention to the new situation in the Arctic. We all really hope that Arctic could be a low-tension region after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Things have slightly changed, and we have to accommodate that. And that is a task for NATO. And I know that there's an upcoming meeting among our defense ministers in the Arctic. It's much easier now when Sweden and Finland also have joined the NATO alliance, and this should be solved in that track. For that we need, and we already have Canadian support.
On the third question posed, let me say the following. As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I try to provide as much transparency as possible so that members of the Canadian public can understand the approach that we are taking internationally. On consular cases, of which Mr. Schellenberg's case is one, I ask my department every time I am meeting with my international counterparts to provide me with information about the specific consular cases that we need to address with the government of the country that I am speaking with. And such is the case with Robert Schellenberg's case, and I have raised this case several times with our Chinese counterparts. in terms of decisions that they are making internally, I do not have visibility on the reasons that they undertake particular decisions. And similarly, they would not have visibility as to government decisions that we are making as a matter of domestic law. I can say that I am pleased with this development, and I look forward to continuing to advocate for Canadian consular cases around the world.
A question to our Minister, Vivian Motzfeldt. In this crisis situation, what does it mean for Greenland that a Canadian consulate has been opened in Greenland, and what kind of advantage are you going to take? And a question to Minister Anand. Which specific and concrete measures as tasks and things you will do here between the collaboration with Greenland and Canada?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I would say that working towards to more closer cooperation has been something that we have been working for also before all the crisis. So opening the consulate yesterday, it's not only to current situation, also that, but because we are very close neighbors and we have same history, shared history, and our ancestors and our fellow Inuit also live in Canada. So on that, I think that at the same time that strengthen our cooperation and our wanting to strengthen our trade in any kind and collaboration in education and security matter and all these. In fact, how important it is for us to have this feeling that you're not alone. You are standing here with your friends. And opening a Canadian consulate yesterday shows our ties even get more tight, and now we can make our wish to strengthen our cooperation even easier to work on, because we have a piece of Canada here and us wanting to open our representation also in Canada in the near future.
I really like the way you phrased that, Minister Motzfeldt, a piece of Canada here in Nuuk, in Greenland, because that's how we feel also, this diplomatic, formalized presence here with the formal opening of the consulate is an example not only of our physical presence, but the spirit within which we came and will stay, which is one of cooperation and collaboration. In terms of tangible measures, we are tangibly and pragmatically cooperating on three particular pillars of the strategic relationship. One is on the security and defense partnership, and in particular, given that Canada itself is an Arctic country with 70% of our coastline and 40% of our landmass being Arctic interfacing, it is absolutely necessary for us to collaborate and cooperate with other Arctic countries, including the Nordic Five, including Denmark and Greenland. So this is a tangible presence here, and it gives voice to the continued cooperation on defense and security matters, multilaterally and bilaterally and trilaterally. Then we have the B2B ties. We cannot imagine and think that the economic ties between Canadian firms, Greenlandic firms, Danish firms is separate from security matters. Strong economies allow security relationships to be even deeper. And so we will continue to build economic ties. There are Canadian companies already active in Greenland, in Denmark, and we hope to grow those ties both ways to make sure that people know Canada is a country that wants to build economic ties and partnerships. And thirdly, underpinning all of this is the strong people-to-people ties between Canada, Greenland, and Denmark. You saw over 100 Inuit leaders here in Nuuk yesterday. That doesn't happen by accident. It happened because of the strong people-to-people ties. And as Minister Motzfeldt said yesterday, we are one people. And I thank you for welcoming us, Minister Motzfeldt, and I thank the people of Nuuk and Greenland and Denmark for being so warm and welcoming to Canada and Canadians. We stand with you.
Joshua Hollingdale, Danish TV, DR. Ministers Motzfeldt and Rasmussen, you've said several times that there's a clear red line from the Kingdom and from Greenland that no Greenlandic land will be given to the Americans. In your talks with the Americans, have they agreed to that red line? That's my first question. The second is, are we still in the middle of a crisis as you see it? Thank you.
I will not go into details about these ongoing discussions. I can say very clearly that we have made this precondition very clear, that any solution should respect our red lines, and I think we have made it crystal clear, and even though we have started discussions. So I take it as a clear sign that it should be doable to find a solution while at the same time respecting these red lines. I can't foresee whether we will conclude in that way, and therefore we are not out of the crisis, and we do not have a solution yet. But as Vivian Motzfeldt said earlier, we are in a much better position now compared to like a few weeks ago, because there are no threats on the table. There's no, trade war with Europe, and that is good. And everybody agrees that we should try to solve this in a normal diplomatic way. Until we have the final conclusions, we can't draw any conclusions.
I think that it's very important also to mention that this high-level working group has just started their work. And I think it's very important also to give them undisturbed working environment, and that's it's all our interest.
Just one quick question. Can you, ministers from Denmark and Greenland, comment on the U.S. politicians that are supposed to be coming today, tomorrow? Did you invite them, and what are you hoping to accomplish from their visit?
We have many good friends also from United States. We're going to receive them and have a meeting with them.
Well, and I agree. And as far as I'm informed, a group of those who are arriving today are people we know very well from previous visits here or in Denmark. And generally speaking, I think this is also important to bring nuances into the debate. We have never ever, and now I'm talking on behalf of the Kingdom of Denmark, we have never ever received so many American politicians as we have had, this year, last year. Many good friends, bipartisan, who are strong believer in transatlantic cooperation, who appreciate what the Kingdom have offered. Also, when the U.S., have called upon our assistance, as you know, there's only one time in NATO history where the Article 5 has been triggered, and we delivered immediately. And many politicians, cross-partisan, recognize that in the U.S., and that's good.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for welcoming us here. Take care.